All right, we are back. It's been roughly 45 minutes since the market opened. A lot has happened. I'm sorry I can't trade and alert and do this whole video all at the same time. I'm multitasking enough. It's hurting my trading enough. But I just made roughly 700 bucks on SPU and GRPN. And I apologize for the typos in the alerts, but I'm trying to get them out fast. GRPN turned out to be a bust, and SPU turned out solid, although I only took a small piece of the move. You know, I made my 5% from roughly mid-10 to the low 11s, and now it is in the low 12s. So I was on the right track. And I know some people say, oh, you should only judge yourself based on your actual trades. For me, I always try and learn from what I did right and what I did wrong. I'm always refining, I'm always learning, and I think that's a good way to be. So when I buy SPU and when I'm dead on right, even if I sell a little too soon, I take that as a very positive thing. So let me just show you, I guess, let's say 1 day chart. Oh, I guess you got to see more than 1 day. Again, look at multiple time frames to try and get the gist of the chart. This is stocks to trade with all these news alerts and technical alerts. I'm going to turn them off just so you can see. Actually, more than 5 days, because the recent days actually matter here. So remember, I don't know if you remember, I was buying this, where was it? In here at $5.30. I sold it at roughly $6. It was a solid win. This was when low floats were really, really spiking, and it actually went all the way to 20 plus. Now, and this is all in the past 10 days, mind you. So 5 to 20, back down to 8, and now to 12. So this is the single most volatile stock in the market. I like volatile plays. I'm going to dip by it. You know, if you've seen my penny stocking framework DVD, when a supernova is down 50% off of its recent highs in just a few days, a lot of people think, oh, it's going back down to zero. No, actually, it can be a good dip buy. And that's what we had here. The question is, when do you dip buy? This was actually in my watch list last night. Let me just show you, just so you understand that I'm not making this stuff up. I want to show you my dashboard real quick. So this was 12 hot stocks to watch yesterday, or I posted this yesterday. And I said SPU, TOPS, KONE, OPT, T are 4 supernovas I'm watching every day for potential buys if they start uptrending with volume. Okay, look at that. Potential buys if they start uptrending with volume. So that was the key here. And guess what? Let's zoom in on today. I'll get to my Groupon trade in a second and other plays, but this one is my biggest winner, and it's moving right now, so I want to get to it. So pre-market, okay, it's not really moving. It spikes at the open. Don't underestimate the importance of morning spikes. They can be the beginning of something bigger, especially with these low flow winners. I don't want to chase it though. A morning spike here is from 980 all the way up to 1080. So this little spike looks tiny on this chart. This is $1 a share spike. I want to see if it's just, a fake out or if it's real or not. It comes down back here. Then it starts uptrending. And I was buying it right in here. I mean, the day high was 1060, 1070-ish to be exact. And I was buying it right as it was making a second test. And I wasn't sure if it was going to. You can see there was actually a red candle after I bought because you're still not sure if it's a double top or not. But with low float runners that are 50% off their highs, I'm going to take the chance. I could be buying into a double top. I've done that before. I bought into a triple top a few days ago on, what was it? There was another low float runner, LEDS, and I bought smack into a triple top before my alert even, got sent. It was already a guaranteed triple top. All I could do was cut losses quickly. And I lost, like 50 cents a share. I'm not a big fan of, look at this, 12.50, unreal. Anyways, $2 a share above my buy alert now. And I like this on stocks to trade. It says just new day high. We just got a nice little alert. So when you're buying a delayed morning spike or when you're buying a morning spike, you have to be open to the fact that you might just be buying into a brick wall and it could top. That's why I really prefer dip buying because it's not as risky. But that said, I don't want to dip buy a stock like SPU because you don't know if the dip is just going to keep lasting or not. And as I said, potential buys if they start uptrending with volume. And that's exactly what SPU did here. And that's why I bought it. And, I didn't know. They actually just issued a press release. Where was it? I think they issued a press release. I saw it somewhere. I don't know. The press release doesn't even matter. I didn't know a press release was going to happen. I wasn't even in the play when the press release came out. I'm buying the breakout here, or the potential breakout with volume. And we got that. It did get up to 1160 while I was holding. I just couldn't get out at 1160-ish. The spread, and you can see here, the spread is like 10, 15, 20 cents. Sometimes the spread goes to like 20, 30 cents. So I could not quite catch $1 a share profit when I was holding. I profited, roughly 50 cents. Roughly 50 cents, 60 cents a share, which is fine because, I said my goal is to make 50 to 75 cents a share. So I hit my goals. I took the meat of the move and I followed my watch list. Now let's plug this in to my formula. So earlier today, I'm actually filming this trader checklist DVD and I'm trading and I'm alerting. So I'm really multitasking. So some people who are going to see this video maybe did not see the previous videos that I filmed pre-market, how we got these numbers. But this is, for those of you who don't know, just need a little quick refresher. This is my new indicator chart where, different trades are ranked, different indicators are ranked on a scale of 1 to 10 and some 1 to 20. My new DVD trader checklist is going to explain all of this in depth. But this is, I believe, the first numerical grading of these kinds of trades. And as we saw today, GRPN, EVOK, PEIX, and MDGS were my top pre-market watchers. And I'll get into them in a second. But first, let's analyze SPU when I was buying it. Not now, because now there's, I'm not going to chase it here in the $2 a share above where I bought it. I'm going to go back and analyze it when I was buying it. Right here, what did I see at 1060? So, first, pattern, price. I love dip buying supernovas. I love trading supernovas as long as they fit my qualifications. And I'm not going to dip buy a supernova that just keeps dipping and dipping and dipping because I don't know where the bottom is. But if it has a morning spike, which SPU had, it's uptrending near that morning spike, it has volume, and it's 50% off the highs, guess what? This is a 20. On a scale of 1 to 20 because it fit every single pattern that I love. And that's all you can do in life, really. You learn your patterns and you wait for stocks to fit them. Risk reward, I'm not going to say it's a perfect risk reward because I could have been still buying into a top. So I'm going to put that at roughly 10, right in the middle, because if it's a breakout, that's nice. If not, then I'm wrong. Ease of entry and exit, I can't give this on a scale of 1 to 10 a 10 because it's so, first it's volatile, but secondly, the spread is crazy. So I couldn't even take the full profit that I wanted. So I'm going to give this a 5, the midpoint. Past performance history of spiking, this is definitely a 10. At what time is it? Personal schedule, morning spike. This was solid. I prefer buying right at the market open, but again, my personal schedule today, I'm totally free to trade all day. So that part of it is clear. A delayed morning spike is not exactly ideal, but I'll give this a 16 out of 20. The reason catalysts, they're really the plays that are moving, they don't even need catalysts right now. It's all about, low float, low market cap, and volatility and volume. So I'll give this a 10 because it's fitting the pattern exactly. Here's market environment, and this is the perfect market for spiking. So Let me just add this up. Auto sum. It's an 81. Oh, wait. Let me get it so you can see formatted nicely. Again, I am showing you my computer skills or lack thereof. There we go. So this is rated an 81. Remember, I only want to take trades, and this is a rough estimate, but I only want to take trades that are in the 80, 85, 90 region. You know, if I really wanted to get particular, I think I could even, you know, up the risk reward possibly, because if it is a breakout, it could go up $1 a share. If it's a fake out, you know, I'm going to lose 20 or 30 cents. So I might even bump this up to a 12 when I was buying it. So anywhere, as you can see, I mean, compared to what we were watching pre-market in the earlier video, you know, clear difference in terms of number. And, you know, I want to take trades that are higher. And that's exactly what we did here. So I'm very proud of that. You know, made some good money. Didn't take the whole trade. I also got to give props to some students earlier. I'll get into that. I got to follow Jeffron. Ghost Trades made some money. Connoisseur, got to follow him for that good trade. And McKenna. Let me go to the bathroom real quick, and I'll be back in a second, and I'll explain these trades in a second. All right, I am back. So let's analyze some of my student trades before we get into my Groupon trade, which I actually ended up trading it, and you know, it was basically a scratch, which turned out to be a good idea to get out when it wasn't working. But let me first talk about Robbie Miller, EVOK. He's not giving me any details. Come on, Robbie. I love it when you guys show me screenshots. I can't really, you know, I'll say congratulations, but I can't really, you know, give you any feedback, good or bad, until you show me your trade. You know, same thing with Jevron, although he gets into a little details, and he had a big day the other day, so congrats to him. But he was in on EVOK overnight, in at 207, out at 264, and he left 100 on the table. And he doesn't like it because TD Ameritrade doesn't allow pre-market trading before 8 a.m. Eastern. EVOK was spiking early this morning. So what he did right was, where is EVOK? So EVOK is still up 36% on the day, but as we talked about in the earlier video, you know, it was coming off of this high of 3, and I didn't really want to chase it because yesterday it's up from the 160s. You know, they had some minor FDA news, some minor SEC filing news with some new investors. It's just, you know, remember, what did we give the label earlier? It was like a 52, roughly. I think it might have been a 53, I don't know. But it was in the 50s. And when a stock on a scale of, you know, 0 to 100 or 1 to 100 can only get 50, that's not making me want to trade it today. That said, yesterday, you know, overnight when it's uptrending like this, hey, I mean, I think that's worth a shot in this market. You know, I mean, it's not exactly a great play, but at least you're buying a low float, low market cap kind of play. You know, you can see here the float on stocks to trade. You can add different stuff. So if I right click on this, you know, I can add new column. I can show different stuff. Right now, float is probably the most important indicator in this market currently. So I'm very glad that I can show the float. And you can see the float is only, you know, 4 million shares. So it's already traded in the first hour of the day today, nearly half of the potential shares. I did not want to buy it today. I specifically did not think that it was good enough, and it was in the 50s. And I said this to the chat room. But it did have some spiking. You know, you could have bought it at support here. You know, it looks like it's had support in the 250s, and you could have, you know, kind of traded at range bound from 250 to 260, maybe 260 to like 280, 290. It just didn't have big supernova potential. You know, when I'm trading a stock like SPU, part of the cool thing is that it has big supernova potential. I mean, this thing has spiked $2 a share. It's coming down a little bit off its highs, but this thing spiked $2 a share, from where I bought it. And here was the news, by the way. They announced the new company. I was not in the stock when this news was announced, and I didn't know, the news was going to come out. But even without the news, the thing was already up 20%. Now it's up close to 30%. So I really prefer stocks that can spike a lot. And EVOK, judging by the price action and judging what we said earlier, it just didn't have it. My play on Groupon, as I said in the earlier video, if it could get above 5, then it would be a big breakout. Remember, it was only, pre-market roughly a 73. Let me zero this out and tell you what the number was right when I did buy it. Let's see. So congrats to Jaron. Ghost Trades was also in overnight on EVOK. Connoisseurbo has had patience on EBIO. And again, that's cool to show me this, but I need to see the details. Show me what day you got in. Show me, what time, and then we can judge your trades. Otherwise, I'll say congrats, but, I can't help you that much. So GRPN, I made, less than $50. And in case you don't realize, it cost me several $100s to even send out text messages or, emails to everybody. So while some people think, oh, I care about making $28, no, I have actually probably lost like $300 or $400 once you factor in the fees just for me alerting. I never go into a stock to make $28, whether I'm trading with $12,000 or whether I'm trading, my $12,000 account has now grown to like $76,000, $77,000 now in 2016. I'm trying to, show good trades, and I'm trying to make good trades, and I'm trying to make the most that I can. But sometimes the stock doesn't cooperate, and GRPN is a good example. As I said in that video earlier today, it was a 70-ish, but there was so much resistance. Let me go to Groupon for a second. And it's actually come down quite a bit. I'm really glad I played it safe. So, pre-market, we were watching it spike nicely in reaction to earnings. I think when I finished the pre-market video, it was just breaking out past the morning highs at 476. It was like in the 480s. And I was like, well, that's good, but there's still resistance at 5. And, when we go back, actually, it's more than 2 months ago. Let me go back a year. Let me turn off the news alert. So you can see right here back in March, it had resistance here at 5-ish. So it broke the resistance of 470-ish, but it could not break 5 pre-market. When the market opened, though, things changed, and that's when I bought. Right in here. Within the first minute or two, it broke above 5. So again, I like buying morning spikes. I like that it's breaking out. I like that it's on earnings. But also remember, when I see a breakout, I want the breakout to be convincing. Okay, if you're going to break above $5 a share, you better get to 510, 520, 530 even to really show that, you can spike more and maybe go supernova. Granted, this is a bigger company. Look at the float. I mean, we're talking billions of shares out there, and it's still up 24%. So if you're like most CNBC viewers or, Robinhood users, like just absolute morons who don't understand trading and they're just, trying to invest in good companies or whatever, a stock being up 24% on the day is pretty good. For me as a trader who wants maximum volatility, that's not good enough. I want you to learn that phrase. This company is good. The news is good. The stock setup is good, but it's not good enough for my hard-earned money. So here is my trade. I bought this earnings winner breakout. Goal is to make 25 to 50 cents. Not very volatile stock, though. So I knew that it wasn't very volatile stock. So when I'm buying it at 502, it is a multi-month breakout. It's already up 30%. I understand this is a big move, but sometimes these big companies can even go up 40 or even 50% on the day. So while I don't think that it's necessarily going to be a huge winner, I'm going to take it because the stock, proved to me within the first 2 minutes that it deserved my money because it got above the resistance that I was looking for it. So if we go to pattern and price, it's not like a huge potential supernova. At best, I'm going to make 50 cents a share. So I'll vote it, a 13 out of 20. Risk reward, again, if it doesn't fail, if it doesn't hold above 5, I'm going to get out. If it doesn't break out convincingly, I'm going to get out. There's not much risk if I stick to my rules. There's a lot of risk if I just say, oh, it's an earnings winner, I'm just going to hold. And, if I was still holding, I'd be down 30 cents a share right now. But it tried to break above 5. It tried to hold above 5 for a little bit, and it just couldn't. But that's fine. There wasn't much risk. And if I was right, I could have made, let's say, 50 cents a share. I thought that it could go to 5.50. So if it's going to go to 5.50, and at worst, I'm going to lose maybe 5 cents a share. So it's roughly 10-to-1 risk reward. That's fantastic. I'll give it a 19. It's not perfect because it's, you can't give it a perfect score out of 20 because it doesn't deserve that because it can't go, it's not going to go to like $8 a share. Actually, I'm going to even move it down to like 18 out of 20. A perfect score would be, a stock like SPU where it could theoretically just go to the moon. Groupon is a multi-billion-dollar company already. The huge potential parabolic, potential supernova price action is off the table. So it is a higher risk reward though than my SPU trade because SPU, I'm buying it and I'm risking, what if it doesn't break out? GRPN had already broken out. And on SPU, I can't wait for the breakout because if I wait for the breakout, then it moves 30 or 40 cents. So on this one, I kind of had to anticipate the breakout. Versus Groupon, it's volatile and liquid enough I could wait for the breakout. So that's why this is a better risk reward than SPU. Ease of entry and exit, I could get in and out very easily, so it's a 10. Past performance history of spiking, I got to dock this one. It's a 4. It does not have the history that SPU has. At what time of day is it? Morning spike in my personal schedule. Remember, I can trade all day today, so I'm fine. And it's a morning spike. So this is, a 20. It's the exact right time that I should be trading. The reason catalyst is earnings. In different markets, again, earnings winners are respected more, and I would value them more. In this market, earnings winners haven't really been that amazing. So SPU got a 10, and it didn't even have news or a catalyst, but low float, low market cap runners have been working so well. With Groupon, I'll give it a 6. And then the market environment, it's right for spikers. It's not perfect for big companies, so I'll give it an 8. So this was a 79, and SPU was an 83. And again, remember, I need to repeat, this is not an exact science. So it's not like, oh, I'll take SPU every day over Groupon because it's 4 points higher. It's more of a range, okay? They're both in the range that I would consider to be tradable. If you look at Greg's, presentation, he has the best trades or the best of the best. This would be a best / maybe even a little lower, a great trade. But it's definitely better than EVOK, PEIX, and MDGS. And by the way, EVOK, where is EVOK? EVOK is still range bound. It's bouncing around like a ball between 250 and 3. I'm not touching it. MDGS failed its morning spike attempt. And, again, I wasn't that surprised because it couldn't even hold the pre-market spike gains. So it's done absolutely nothing. And then PEIX, which was a potential earnings winner, I wanted to buy it because it was uptrending nicely. But remember, the breakout was at what, 6? What was the breakout? 660, I think. 660, 670. So today, even though it had perfect price action, I'm not going to trade it up here at 740 because there's just way too much risk. And guess what? Guess what the bottom has been today? Oh, 660. Oh, it's funny how that works. Successful breakouts, the former resistance now becomes support. So at 740, I'm not touching it. And at 660, you could be dip buying it because, it is a technical breakout. But as I said in my earlier video, remember, you have to watch out for, morning like fake outs. This was spiking after hours when there was very little volume, but when the volume came in, there was no spiking. So is this really going to be an earnings winner? So far it's proved to hold true to hold the 660 level, but it's only up 6% on the day. And remember what I said pre-market, this is an energy company. So it's not the right sector. It's, too far extended here to buy it. And here, even though it's holding support, now the whole question of whether it's an earnings winner at all is in my mind. So there was absolutely no way I could touch this. I'm not going to buy an overextended stock. I'm not going to dip buy a potential non-earnings winner. And now it's mid-range, so there's no play. So you can weed out a lot of potential plays with these indicators. And that's my hope. Once you learn all of this, I want you watching my Trader Checklist DVD guide again and again and again so that you become more comfortable. And I'll issue more updates. This isn't going to be like my normal guide where I just throw out the content and that's it. Those of you who do buy this Trader Checklist DVD, you're going to get updates because I'm just introducing these 7 indicators for the first time. And these numbers and the way that I formulate them, I'm sure they're going to change over time based on more experience. I mean, in fact, this is literally the first day as I'm filming this. This is literally the first day that I've put this into practice. That's how confident I am with these indicators. Because guess what? I've been doing this nearly 2 decades. So these indicators aren't random. I'm not just speaking just to hear myself speak. I've compounded a lot of the indicators that I've previously taught to give you these kinds of numerical values so that you understand a stock is not just a buy or a sell or a hold. There are many different shades in between. And, using these indicators and explaining these indicators, you can start to flesh out which trades are better than others. SPU, I took one, I think it might have been the single best morning spiker out of all of them. And it wasn't obvious right at the market open or pre-market, but it was a potential play in my watch list last night, and it was a delayed morning spiker. And I took, 50 cents out of a $2 a share move, which is, very typical of me. I'm never going to hold for the entire move. Never, 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 never. I'm going to try and take my piece of the pie. I'm going to try and take the meat of the move, which I did. I fulfilled my goals on SPU, and this was a good trade. Groupon, it was a good trade setup. And I would do this, again and again and again on Groupon. But I'm not, in charge of what happens to the stock. It was solid pre-market, but when the big volume comes in, it can't hold the breakout at 5. So I'm not going to hold. It's not, it's not worth my hard-earned money when the stock fails. So some people were saying, oh, Tim, look, it's right back to 5 here. At like 10 a.m. after I was already out. I got out, I held for, 10, 15 minutes. I gave it plenty of time to see what it could do, but it couldn't do it. And then when it tried to bounce again to 5, and now it's not even breaking above 5, it's using 5 as resistance, there's no way that I'm holding. And I know conversely, some of you will say, well, Tim, if it fails 5, why don't you short it? Well, what I've learned with earnings winners is that even if you don't necessarily get a breakout right at the open, you can get a breakout at any point later in the day. Groupon could be on CNBC, and analysts could upgrade it. I don't want to go against the momentum of the news. Okay, like if this is up on a blatant pump, I might short it just because the characteristics of what a pump is. It's a short-term catalyst. It's probably going to fade or fail, and when it fades or fails, the stock is going to drop. In this case, you would have been right to short it, but I can name you, probably 50, 60% of the time, shorting earnings winners will get you into trouble because you're going to short and maybe they spike on day 2 or day 3 and you're going to keep adding to your short. And sometimes earnings winners can really spike big on like day 5 or even day 7. So I don't want to short earnings winners. I would do this trade the exact same way. And between GRPN and SPU, I've made roughly $700 today in like 30 minutes. And I took small positions, but most importantly, I analyzed. Besides the money, I'm really proud of how I analyzed every single indicator. And again, while this is not an exact science, the indicators were in my favor. So I took the trades, I played them well, and that's all you can do. So today was a good educational example of these indicators in action. Thank you.
My name is Tim Sykes, and I teach people to trade stocks. I am a self-made multimillionaire.
So this is the ideal trade that I'm going to talk about. I want you guys to understand every single aspect of this trade.